Well, welcome to the Obstacle Races New Zealand podcast. It's Stephen and Max here. And on today's episode, we interview Kim and Andrew from the Organisers of the Alpha Challenge, an upcoming race on the 11th of December down in Wanaka.
Yep, the Alpha Challenge has got a 6 kilometre, a 12 kilometre, a 4-hour teams relay, a kids race and an adaptive race. So it looks like it's set to be a really good weekend. They were certainly interesting to talk to.
Yeah, sounds like they're really onto it in terms of knowing about obstacle racing and quite passionate about their event. And it's only the second year they've held the event, but it already sounds like it's got some positive feedback on it and a lot of thought into it. And yeah, we try and ask them a little bit about what to expect, and they weren't trying to give away too much in terms of like what obstacles there would be and anything like that. But yeah, they have some really good things to talk about, and I'm definitely excited for it.
Yes, and hopefully Auckland will be out of lockdown and we can venture down there as well, and the rest of the country isn't in lockdown. So
yeah, we'll see. It's so many changes at the moment with COVID announcements, and yeah, by the time December rolls around, could be in different landscape again. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. But looking at the photos on their webpage from their 2020 version, it certainly looks, it's a spectacular piece of countryside down in Wanaka. It's got all the usual obstacles, but he did say that there's going to be some things that New Zealand hasn't seen before, which wouldn't say what they were, so he was keeping it close to his chest.
Yeah, sounds exciting. Lots going on, with the competitive race and the Open and the World Championship qualifier now, and they've got that 4-hour team relay and the kids and the adaptive. There's so many different aspects to the race, different groups. It's going to be fun. Yeah, it's looking like it's shaping up to be an awesome event.
Yes. Certainly. They certainly talk highly of it, and a few other people we've spoken to that have been lucky enough to get down that part of the world last year. Last year it was for their first one. I think it was well done. Yeah,
for sure. So you're still in lockdown in Auckland. How's your training been? Have you managed to get out, go for some runs?
I did. I had a long run yesterday. I was supposed to be away this weekend doing a race down in the Waikato, but because we're locked away, it was put off. The Prongarori Trail Run through a beautiful part of the country down out of Waikato. So,
I think I saw that on your Strava. So you did something instead, right? It was quite a long run.
Yes. So the Munter is what I signed up for, and the Munter was 36 kilometres, 32 kilometres.
Oh.
So I decided to run around Seven Volcanoes here in Auckland. So I did 36 kilometre run around because I didn't get the altitude that I would have been getting down there. The Munter is 36.4 kilometres and it's 2,150 metres of vertical. I only got 1,000. Trying to get that much in Auckland, as most people living in Auckland would know, is a lot of running up and down one or two hills because there's not that many big ones.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I've been doing very little. Back to boot camp in Ellerslie Domain a couple of days a week. But with most of the events that I've signed up for this year being cancelled, I'm struggling to stay motivated.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I've been into I guess same like you, events cancelled. I talked about it last episode in the intro. I was going to do event promotions, Tough Guy and Gal, but they cancelled that. But in the place, I think they've cancelled some of their other events too. So in the place of their cancelled events, they've put out a virtual challenge called the Delta Challenge, and people can sign up, and there's a 42k option or a 100k option, and it runs for 2 weeks. So it's been 1 week already, and you have to accumulate, 42k or 100k over the 2 weeks. And you can either run, bike, or swim, or walk it, or I think anything you want really.
Okay.
So I signed up to the 42k option, so I've been doing that over this long weekend. That's been quite fun. I haven't done anything near as long as what you did. Like I think I went for a 5k run one day, and then a 10k. The 10k is pretty long for me. And then this morning I went down to the gym actually and did a run at the gym. So I'd used the gym and run around the block. So I did 5 pull-ups, ran around the block, and the block was about 1.2k, just over a k. So I did that 5 times, pull-ups, run around the block. So I worked out to 6k in total. That was quite fun actually. So I'm halfway through. I'm up to 20 something k, halfway through already. But yeah, it's my running, and just been doing a bit more gym workouts recently.
Yeah, I see you were at CrossFit the other day. I see on Strava you've been CrossFitting.
Yeah, I've been liking that, getting back into that. I've been keeping the weights quite low.
Yeah.
Did a AMRAP the other day, so as many rounds as possible it's short for. But something like that, I've been trying to work on still obstacle racing fitness, so I've been trying to keep the weights on my barbell lower than most of the other guys are doing in there. But I'm just trying to move more, try to complete more reps and more rounds and keep the cardio up. And I think I'm liking that. I think I'm going to keep doing CrossFit that way, like not try and push the weights really, really high, so I can still get fitter for racing.
Which hopefully will be back on the cards, on the 11th of December.
Yes.
But one other piece of news we heard during the week is Spartan has picked a new spot for the Auckland event next year. Barry Curtis Park, I would have said Flatbush. I'm not really sure. I suppose it's Flatbush Botany area. Papatoetoe. No, it'd be Flatbush, I'd say. So for those people not in Auckland, I believe it has had a type of obstacle course race there. The O-Rocks run one there once before.
Yeah, because they mentioned in their announcement they put out that it's hosted previous OCR events. So I think it's the O-Rock. And I tried Googling it actually, Barry Curtis Park obstacle race. I came up with O-Rock, and it did come up with another race I'd never heard of.
Okay.
So that was fascinating. Came up with the Amazing Obstacle Race. So apparently that was held there in 2020. So I don't know. Yeah, it's held by CLM Events. They also do the Building Champions series.
Did it actually happen? Because I don't know about that one. I did sign up for one of their events, which was going to be at where the hell was that? I forget where it was, and that was cancelled.
They had an adults race, yes.
Yeah, adults one, yep. So yeah, so I wonder.
I don't know if this one went ahead, but it looks like a fun run. Nothing too serious. And
well, me and my wife and the dog went for a drive out to Barry Curtis today to have a look, and we were going to report on it, but it was such a miserable day. We didn't get very far around, so I will have to go for a run out there and get a bit better look at it. But it does certainly look like a nice park. But it'll be a little bit like Ellerslie, I'd say, looking at how mushy and grimy the muddy the grass was. And at first, I always thought it was going to be a very smallish park. It would struggle to get 5Ks, but I do believe, looking on Google Earth, that there is a tunnel under Organisers Road, which gives you another big heap of ground on the other side to the west. So I'm presuming that they will have it at the cricket grounds, but it may be somewhere different. I would have thought the cricket grounds would be the best place for the beginning, but you never know.
Yes, I've only looked online, looked at photos being based in Wellington, but it looks good. It looks huge. It looks similar to Ellerslie as well, in that it's quite flat and open, lots of grass. There's no big elevation gains, right? There's no hills there.
You would, I honestly believe, from one end of the park to the other, you'd be battling to get 50 metres. So there's nothing. Sorry, nothing real big that I could see. It's
it's a lot larger than that, isn't it? Because I heard there was
50 metres in elevation.
Oh, okay. I was like, this sounds like a sports field. Okay, no elevation.
We were parked on Chapel Road, and it is a slight rise, but it wouldn't be huge. It's not a huge. I don't think it'd even be as big as the one they had at Ellerslie. Could be deceiving from the car park off Chapel Road. Car parking could be a bit of a problem. Either that, Packard Save and New World will get very pissed off with everyone filling their car parks up, just depending on where they have the festival area, I suppose.
Yeah, is there multiple car parks? There might be multiple entries to the park.
Oh, there's several entries, but around the Eastern Park, it's all private house. A lot of Chapel Road's a fairly busy road, and then it's all houses all the west around it. So there's no actual road right onto the edge, and there's just pathways. So I think once it gets a bit closer and we have a bit better idea of where the festival area is going to be, I think that'll make it'll be a bit easier to do a bit of scoping on what they plan on doing.
Okay.
The other good thing is that there is a creek that had a reasonable amount of water in today, and they've got two small lake type things. It'd be interesting to see whether they are allowed to use those in the race.
That would be awesome, because that was something that was missing from Ellerslie.
Yeah.
Terrain challenges. Ellerslie was just open, really, really fast race, lots of fast running. And it looks like this is mostly going to be the same, but maybe some more opportunities to bring in water terrain, water hazards, like you were saying.
Yes, no, that would be good if we could get something like that happening.
Well, I think a good thing is that they are, last time in Ellerslie they just had the sprint, but this time they're going to have the sprint and the super. So fitting a super at 10k into Ellerslie would have been a stretch, because from memory you went around the whole thing during a 5k sprint.
Yep.
Yeah, so Ellerslie a 10k super would have been kind of lame. So hopefully Barry Curtis Park's going to be a lot better venue for a 10k super.
Yeah. I think they should be able to. I'm just trying to work out if I can measure it here.
It's interesting that it is pretty much similar in terms of what it offers for racing on the competitive end. It might be the same sort of athletes who won Ellerslie who are going to win this Barry Curtis Park race, just in it's the same, it's really flat, really fast sort of race. And Ellerslie was quite muddy. I think they didn't plan for that, but the grass and then thousands of people on the grass and some water just turned into a mud run. I think this, from what you were telling me, may end up the same.
This may end up the same, but they do have some decent concrete walkways too. So if they're allowed to use a bit of that, it certainly will help, I think.
So it'll be interesting to see. And I mean, one thing that'll be quite fascinating though is that I don't know if the Spartan Australia staff would have even seen the venue, because I don't know if they would have made it over since the change of venue announcement. Like, they may have just been communicating with the venue owners online.
Yeah,
online. Photos, videos, and it'll be interesting to see how they hold it and how they.
It'd be interesting to see why they picked there, because not far south, 3-5 k's at the max. There's Totra Park. It's a mountain bike. Farmland, exterior, have a race there. That would be really good. And like I done the 19.5k run at Totra Park, and there was only a very small section that you ran over twice. That would have been a real good place for it. I don't know why or what's involved with them getting involved there. That would have been a good place. But at any rate, they've picked Barry Curtis. So.
Yeah, but one thing with Barry Curtis too is that the New Zealand Spartan Trail race, this announcement to the venue change to Barry Curtis, they didn't announce the trail race as being held there, which they can't. Barry Curtis isn't a trail location, same as Ellerslie. But what you just mentioned there might be interesting. Maybe there is potential for them to hold the Spartan at Barry Curtis and then the trail race at was it Totara Park?
Totara Park, yeah.
Yeah, that may be fascinating if they can, get usage of that, negotiate that with the owners. Then you can have the trail and the Spartan nearby. But why they don't just move Spartan to, the off-road trail terrain is interesting. New Zealand has so much of it. It's a bit of a shame to hold a Spartan in New Zealand on a field.
It certainly is. No, I can't get the measure bit thing here on my computer to work, so I can't measure that.
No worries. From what I've heard, it's huge. It's a huge park. There's no shortage of space for Spartan there.
It's 1.5 kilometres long.
So what are you measuring? Sorry,
Barry Curtis. So that's the total distance of it, and it is nearly 800 metres wide.
That's the park.
That's Barry Curtis Park. That's in a dead straight line. So,
it sounds quite short, doesn't it?
Yeah. So the length is the longest. That's going, providing they can go under the road, which if they can't, only gives them 760 metres by 800 metres. If they get to use the whole park, this is from one road to the next, it's 1.6 kilometres.
Isn't it a massive park? Because isn't there's a park run course which is signposted there, from what I've heard?
Oh, probably is. Yeah, that's just a straight down the edge of the road. So when you look at actually, I know what might give me a better idea. I shall just have a look on Strava. There's probably hundreds of people.
We did, in my research, I saw last week I did look it up. So it says here 94 hectares. It's Barrack Curtis Park. So what is Barrack 94 hectares? Who's a farmer? 0.94 square kilometres? I don't know how to interpret that. It doesn't sound right.
94 is not that. Sorry, 94 hectares or acres, did you say?
94 hectares. Is that not that large?
Yeah, well, it's still decent.
I guess we should have done our calculations before the podcast.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
I'll work it out.
This is Barry Curtis Park and Strava. So, where's the Barry Curtis Park run? 4.99 kilometres.
Okay. But is that most of the park? It's not as large as I was thinking.
Looking at this, it looks as if it is 2 laps of the same course. It is. Yeah. So you're doing it 2.5 Ks. It's a 2.5 K loop.
Okay, so we are looking at a lot smaller area than I actually thought it was.
And they haven't gone across the road. That just stays on the eastern side. So. So
it might be good. Maybe, we should do our research, see how big this place actually is. From what I heard, I was thinking it was a lot larger. I was thinking if you got a 5K course signposted there, that it was like a discontinuous loop, and then you had more land beyond the 5K. So you can but maybe even to fit a 5K or a 10K in is going to be tight. I
will endeavour to get out there before we do our next podcast, weather permitting, and get a bit more information so we can talk with a bit more authority next time.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating. Stay tuned. I'll let everyone know on the next episode.
All right, shall we get to this Alpha Challenge podcast? They don't need to hear us waffling on. These two are really good to listen to, and both about themselves and the Alpha Challenge and where it's come from.
Awesome. Let's do it. Hey, well, welcome to the podcast, guys. It's good to have you on. So, if you want to just briefly introduce yourselves.
My name is Andrew. Been lucky enough to live in New Zealand for just over 10 years now, from Wales originally. So you'll have to excuse the slur every now and again. A bit of the motherland tongue sneaks out. And we're just living the dream here, having good times and trying to spread the good word of obstacle course racing.
I'm Kim, from Auckland originally, and living in Wanaka now. So we own a gym down in Wanaka, and also do the obstacle course race Alpha Challenge that we started last year, and run tours to Spartan internationally. So, which is obviously on hold at the moment. So that's sort of a bit about us and what we do.
So how's it all going with COVID down there at the moment? Is that affecting the gym business? And
no, the gym's not too bad. We're really lucky. We've got a really great local client base. So I think the hardest part is actually probably dealing with the ups and downs that people are facing and feeling quite helpless to be able to help it all. Thing probably with living in a tourist destination, seeing the flow-on effects is it's pretty brutal, but we just try and keep a good positive outlook with things and have a bit of fun and do what we can to lighten people's day.
So your gym would be back to just running as normal as you can in the COVID era, I suppose?
Yeah, we're at limited numbers.
We've lost you. Sorry, your internet froze or someone's froze.
Just we're just running at limited numbers. Which I mean, it's not too bad given what Auckland gyms are going through. So we don't whinge too much given the freedoms that we do have.
Yeah, we've got plenty of space, outside area. We can still get out on the trails, out on the mountain bikes, all that sort of stuff. So in the grand scheme of things, our new normal is actually pretty good and definitely something we don't take for granted when we get out to move around and have some fun.
Okay. All right. Do you want to give us a bit of a background on Alpha Challenge before we quiz you on Spartan and where you've been?
Absolutely. It actually came about. We had we run a couple of tours to Gold Coast, and then we went to Spartan in Hawaii a couple of years ago. So this was all pre-COVID, and had a tour planned to go to the Sunshine Coast just before COVID hit the first time. So I had a bunch of very disappointed people who were very much looking forward to getting out and adventuring, and a whole lot of newbies that we wanted to actually share, our passion and joy for the sport. So we thought, look, stuff it, we'll do one of our own. And that was pretty much how it came about. Was we had a friend who has an amazing piece of land in Wanaka, and his sons and my son's rugby team, and Andrew got talking to him, and then next thing you know, it's gone from a little run around with our group to a full-blown event. That was the start of it last year. So we had our first event last year in December, and just had an absolutely spectacular day. So really happy with the results and just the vibe of it. It was really, really successful. So never intended on ever running an event like this, but amazing what you do when you when things get thrown in the air and you have to kind of recover and work out what to do.
So you've got two different lengths, 6 and 12K.
Yeah, that's correct.
How many obstacles?
Ooh, I'm actually sat looking at the course plan at the moment, actually. So about 20, depending on what your definition of an obstacle is. We don't count natural banks and things like that as obstacles. So our obstacles are all sort of created or shaped or actually turned into an obstacle. And so 6K will be 20 to 24, there or thereabouts. And then the 12K distance will be 2 laps of that. So it's going to be a really good obstacle heavy hit out, which will be quite good fun. And we make use of lots of the farm is amazing. It's such awesome terrain. We've got forest, hills, banks, a pond that we might make use of. I'm not disclosing too many details about the course because I like that surprise element when people arrive. And it should be a really good fun day out that I think everybody's going to enjoy. We've got a heap of great sponsors on board this year, and the obstacles have just taken a step up from last year in a few different areas as far as having more bigger obstacles, as well as a couple that have a little bit more of a technical element to them.
I just brought your website up. I'm trying to find. So whereabouts out of Wanaka is it?
Dublin Bay. So a quick 10-minute drive as if you're heading to Lake Howea. There's a left-hand turn and you head down towards Dublin Bay there. It's a wonderful, they've got a wedding platform there as well, and that's our finish area. So it's really a Hollywood spot. It's elevated, it overlooks the lake. We make use of the undulating terrain around the farm, and the landowner's awesome, and he's just keen to get on board and good to go. So we're really excited about what we can do this year.
Pretty much as nuts as Andrew is. So I send them out to catch up, and they come back with some ideas that being health and safety boring person, yeah, we've had some few discussions, but it's amazing the creativity of that comes out of the conversations.
What year is the event? Is this the second time it's being run?
Yeah, this will be our second year. Yeah.
Okay, it sounds really awesome. Because my introduction to the Alpha Challenge was after your first event. I got a message on Facebook from I can't remember who it was at this point, but one of the OCR people I follow, like somewhere else in the country, sent me a message saying, hey, check out this event. This event's awesome. Like, he just did it. And he highly recommended it, told me to keep an eye on it.
That's great to get that feedback.
Yeah. So it's cool. There's some positive like word of mouth spreading about it.
Yeah, it was a super fun day. I mean, admittedly, we had to put it together very, very quickly. And we were just really fortunate to have some awesome people. You know, the great things about what make the sport great: good people, good attitudes, people have jumped on board. And we're just trying to spread the word far and wide this year to get as many people involved as we can. I mean, yesterday I was actually out purchasing some scaffolding to build one of the rigs, and a fellow walked past me in the high vis, and he was like, "Oh, what are you building?" And I said, "Monkey bars for our event." And he went, "Oh, is that the Alpha Challenge? I was there last year." And this was at an industrial estate, and there was only 3 of us then. He walked past, and he was like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to this year. Can't wait. I can't wait to see what you build and what you do." So real positive stuff that people just loved and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, speaking of the rigs and the obstacles, so I wanted to ask you about, so you guys have, this year it's become a OCR World Championship qualifier event. Yeah. Looking up the way, so the criteria you guys have, you got an interesting one in that to qualify for the pro division, I guess, for the World Championships, it's the top 2 males and females in the competitive.
Yeah.
Which sounds pretty standard for races. It's the top of the elite races. But then for the age group at the World Championships, you guys have the criteria of anyone who completes 100% of the obstacles in the open. That's fascinating. Like, how did that come about, and how did you guys choose to do that?
It was actually the recommendation of OCR World Champs. So they kind of drove a lot of the criteria for us. Which is great, because we want to, I mean, our main thing in our discussions with them is that we don't want to put people in, like, we obviously want people to qualify and do amazingly well, but we equally don't want to put them in a position where it's not, they go and have a bad experience at OCR World Champs, for example, because it's not quite at the same level. So they were really good with assisting us with that, and we talked through the obstacles that we had. They just provided direction on what we should do or what they would like us to do, and we just rolled with it and taken that on board.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. How hard is it going to be to complete 100%?
We do probably have a little bit of leeway. She said if you've got an obstacle that everyone fails, because Andrew's saying I've got some nasty stuff for these elite people. If we've got one that everyone fails, there may be some leeway on the 100%, which we'll discuss with you afterwards, because we don't want to make it too easy. So one of the guys actually really is in a, God, who was it? I can't remember now, but he came up to me afterwards and was talking about, really suggestions for making it heaps harder this year. So we took that on board, and so we have made the competitive side a lot more challenging than what the competitive was last year. So I think those crazy guys that run at the top level, I think they'll love it.
Yeah, we definitely want to keep that technical element to the obstacles as well. there'll be a few staples there that if you were going to have a guess what 3 obstacles you'd see on an obstacle course race, you'd probably be right. And definitely one that's going to be a nice, carry a really good technical side of things, that if you are practicing your overhead skills and hanging skills, it's going to give you a good run for your money. And then I was talking to the guys about it the other day, they're going to sponsor that obstacle, and he said, I'll rephrase it for the younger listeners, we're going to build you some mad stuff. You can shuffle those words around, so that'll be quite good fun and something that we're really looking forward to.
Nice. It sounds cool speaking about technical obstacles, because I think that's something New Zealand racers aren't so clued up on, I guess, compared to overseas. It'd be awesome to see the level of technical obstacles just arrive in New Zealand. And I guess you guys, if your exposure, like you were saying at the start, taking tours of people over to international Spartans, and so you've seen some of the obstacles over there. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Also, it's making it not scary for people too, because I don't care. Like when we've gone to Spartan overseas, we've had people from various levels, from beginners right up to those competing. And it's a not fail. You don't fail, but you can get better each time. So I think that's what I really like about the sport too. So we're not scared of making something hard, because if you give it a go and you can't do it, it's absolutely amazing that you've even given it a go if it's not your sport of choice. And I think that's one of the things that we really, really want to encourage within both OCR and within Alpha Challenges. You may not be able to do anything, but that's actually completely okay. And maybe next year you'll come back. So we had, me personally, I did my first Spartan, and I couldn't do the rope climb or the monkey bars. So I pretty much burpeed and ran, because my background's running, for a very long time. And at the end of it, I was like, I need to do this rope climb. I just cannot do another race of having to burpee like that. And you learn the technique, and suddenly it's just a walk in the park. And so I think it's nice having different goals. And the next year after that, it was monkey bars. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get these. So I think there's a lot of scope for people to really to not have to be perfect on the first one, but have something to aspire to do. And
so they come back several times.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's something that excites me a lot on the coaching side of things as well, because I've completed my SGX level 2 now, so I'm a fully certified Spartan coach. And one of the things we talk about at the gym a lot is those benchmarks within a race. And like Kim said, it might be as simple as, hey, I want you to try and walk a little bit faster, and hop over that 3-foot wall. And if you want to have a look at the monkey bars, go and check them out, and then we'll aim for those next year. So all those little stepping stones we can put in place along the way in the journey of people's training makes it really exciting for me on the coaching side, and as well as that side for people where they don't have to be running a 3-minute K. They might walk all the way around and then get to the rope climb, be like, sweet, I have practiced this, I am ready, and take that victory away from it. And, you put your finisher's medal on, or your shirt, or whatever it is, and you've taken that victory from the course and go, man, that was awesome. I earned that. That was cool. And that's one of the things that really excites me from a coaching standpoint as well. It's just breaking it down into those little micro steps that people can work towards and train. And even the characteristics of fitness within that, you've got your strength side, mobility, stability, sort of athletic movements. There's lots of different ways we can travel on that journey, that pathway to becoming an improved OCR athlete.
Yeah, I think you guys have absolutely nailed a point I was trying to communicate a few months back, about having mini challenge points within a race. Like there's different obstacles, and even if you can't do them all, it provides different goals. Talking to the Ultimate Athlete organisers a few months back, they were concerned about having a high pass rate on all the obstacles. So I was trying to tell them, no, don't worry if there's going to be a high failure rate on some of them. And you may even want to purposely put some in there that it's a big failure rate, because that does, incentivize people. It's not like an OCR is different than a road race, or you come back and you want to do a longer distance or get faster. But in OCR, you have that as well, but you can also have goals within that. Like, I want to come back and I want to do the monkey bars this time, and I want to complete this obstacle this time. And there's different challenges. Yeah, it's fascinating to hear you guys talk about it and break it down so clearly as well.
And I think one of the best experiences I had when we were over in Hawaii, we had people across different categories, different things. And then we completed a paddy lap, which was basically 24 of us walked around the sprint course, so the 5 kilometer course, and just hung out together. And then being able to help each other over things, for one of the girls as simple as getting over a wall.
And it was a big deal. Like, it was terrifying. Somebody's scared of heights. That wall is just horrific. And just seeing your face coming over it, it's a really cool thing to be part of.
Yeah. That's something we love, it's from going hard to crushing obstacles right the way down to, hey, let's, like that's where we said, be bold enough to be brave, be bold, brave enough to try something new and go, all right, cool. I might just have a really great walk with my friends and have a look at the few things that inspire me to get stronger or fitter or faster, or just embrace failure in a slightly different way, because it's not the end of the world. One of our coaches says failure is not fatal. So I love that side of it. That's the stuff that makes me fizz. I'm like, I'd love to see you on course whether you're going to walk all the way around, taking pictures right the way up to, hammering the hills and busting through obstacles.
So if you do fail, what is there, burpees or?
We had burpees last year, but we've had some feedback that people would like to try different things. And we actually got sent one with because it was moon hoppers. One of the guys that we know that does a lot of racing, and it was from a race in
I can't remember what it was. Hilarious. So,
yeah, and the penalty is they have to go on those old-fashioned moon hopper things, little blow-up things, and bounce around an area, and just ridiculous. So, we might have that, because I don't know where you buy 20 moon hoppers from now, but good old back in the 80s. But no,
I know where you can get things. Some. Does that the New Zealand race he was in?
Look out!
Because I was in a race last year or the year before, and that had a small, and it didn't look like a very long course, but Jesus, that's hard work.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes it's the short ones you got to look out for,
especially if you're tall, trying to get on those little things, bounce around, and it wasn't a straight track; it was a curvy thing. And
yes,
it was fun to say the least.
I'll be worried about cramping up, I think, especially if we're running hard, getting those knees bent and the hamstrings firing. But yeah, there will be obstacles that will then carry a penalty.
Yep.
So we might use burpees. It might be a penalty lap, a sandbag carry, a crawl, a tire drag, just especially for those guys that want to go hard. And sort of I take the stance that if you don't have the technical capability and somebody next to you does, it kind of needs to be like, okay, I'm not just going to nail 30 burpees, for example, because I can't knock them out quick, but people can knock them out incredibly quick and sort of catch up. So we do want to keep that level playing field where, for me and the competitive side of things, technical capabilities, technical proficiencies are rewarded. So I think that's really cool. I'm talking to a few friends that went to World Champs. That was really awesome. I mean, one of the guys was telling me, I think he was 20 set. No, he was 70th or well over the top 50. And came to a particularly difficult rig and nailed it and went from 70th to 24th or something like that in his age category. And that made me go, okay, that's cool. I really respect that. And as well as having multiple goes at things. So it took, I think it was his second go he got it, and it was a low rig that was very, very tricky, and he wasn't allowed to touch the floor. So he missed it the first time, went round for his second attempt, nailed it and shot at the leaderboard. And I thought that was a really cool way to do it, where it's not about being a blisteringly fast runner entirely or being really good at smashing out sets of 30 burpees.
Yes.
As much as we all love burpees, of course.
Oh. Anything else, Max, on Alpha Challenge, or should we quiz them on Spartan and their travels?
Yeah, the competitive race. Into that one myself. Come down, run it there. So what's can we expect in the competitive race? Is there any other differences from the open?
Different obstacles.
Yeah. So if you did the 12, for example, there will be 2 lanes for each lap. So you'll have, your lane one, your lap one side if you were doing the 12 kilometer. And then the second time through, there'll be some obstacles that will have the lane 2 side. Not all of them. I wish I had the materials and the capability to do that. But so on that second lap, you'll get some variation in there, just so you're not sort of hammering the same things over and over. And obviously, like a good competitive race, you want to get that field away early, so they've got a nice clean race course and you can sort of put the hammer down and go for it as hard as you want. We got a great crew of marshals as well that have all trained with us and traveled with us and sort of get it. So that'll be really great to have some great people on course that can assist you, and plenty signage, all that sort of stuff, so you can really see what's coming and get your head around it and know what you have to do to get through it.
Okay. So that by 2 lanes, you mean on the obstacles? So there's same obstacle, but 2 variations on it.
Yeah, that's it.
Just kind of what Spartan did with Spartan Hawaii did that with the, what do we do, the Super and the Beast. They had different obstacles for at the end for the final rig. So we sort of took that kind of, or inspiration from how they ran it to modify what we were going to do.
Okay.
Are they the second lane harder, or are they easier? Is there any sort of rule for the second time around? I was just thinking tactic-wise, if you're running, coming in that first lane, you can see what the second lane involves.
Yeah, you can definitely
playing out your race for your second lap. Interesting. Brings in some new tactics into it.
Probably similar, I think. From a safety standpoint for myself, I'd rather people have the more technical side first. And then if we were, if you could sort of scale technicality, I don't even know how I'd manage to do that, but the more technical aspect would be on the first lap when you're a bit fresher. And then the second one, you might have had a look to it and gone, oh yeah, okay, cool. I know what's coming up. I'm feeling good about getting through that. Or tactically, right, I know what's coming. I might need to have a breather here because my grip's cooked or my legs are turning into jelly or something along those lines. So definitely opportunities to risk that sort of.
But I like that. Because I like the mental part of it too, where you can actually, where there is some strategy to it, and how when you might burn yourself out or push harder or pull back or so I like that in a race. I enjoy that.
I think there'll be some cool sections as well. I've tried to set it up so on course you can sort of see everything most of the way around, and there's a couple of gullies where we'll be able to have a good, like yourself, I love doing that. I love running around the corner going, oh, what's next, what can I see over there, what's that way, am I going to go there next, and sort of see 4, 5 or 6 obstacles from one position on the course and be like, oh, sweet, I know what's coming now, or I know that's going to happen, or when I'm heading this way. I love that side of it. So that's really fun and really exciting. If you're one of the areas is a gully that we want to set up as a bit of a gauntlet to make I say spectators, but at level 2 we'll have to see how that plays out. But even on course, you can see your friends, you can stand on top where you've got a bit of elevation and see them doing things and just enjoy shouting at each other and having a bit of fun and get some music on up there. It should be a really good, fun environment on course.
Yes, I checked out your website earlier today, but you guys had different plans for level 1 and level 2. So is that going to the event will run differently based on what alert level Wanaka is in at the time?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we'd love to be in level 1 where we can just have everybody in together and have a big packed environment, but that's just not achievable at level 2. So we made the call pretty early in the piece of planning that we wanted to run it at level 2. Well, obviously level 3 is completely out, but so we have restricted numbers this year in order to be able to do it. So I mean, hard from a business standpoint, but our goal is always just to get it up and running, and we're in it for the long haul, and just provide a really fun, positive way to end the year on for people. Like there's been so many things cancelled. So we've planned it so that we can run at level 2, and we'll change it slightly so that there are different wave times so that we can stay under the 100 people per wave. So yeah, but our wish is that we're at level 1 and everyone is all in there together, and
that would be
loads
cool.
of spectators, but hope for the best, plan for the worst. But not level 3 or 4. That's out.
The finish line vibes last year was so cool. We've got a guy DJing for us. It's an absolute dude. He rocks it. You're on this wedding platform that overlooks the lake. It was quite funny last year. The day before, we had sleet and snow.
It was horrendous.
So absolute weather bomb came through, and I was on course trying to finish markings and things. My fingertips went numb. I couldn't get it done. But then Saturday, the weather gods shined. And if you check out the highlight video, which shows sort of the area quite well on the website, you can see that finish line area was 25 degrees. You whatever your refreshment of choices at the finish line was tasting real good at that point, and that was a real highlight of it. Beats on, good friends, everybody's just shared the experience. So ideal world, let's go level 1, let's hang out at that finish line and have a great time in what I think is an absolutely amazing spot in the world. level 2, hey, we still get to race. You can still do it with your friends, have an
Have
absolutely
fun.
great time, share that experience, and finish the year on something really fun,
Positive
and positive. Yeah.
We'll see about Auckland. Stephen, you're stuck
I
into
know.
levels.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you.
See if you
We've
guys
got
can
a
make it.
contingent coming down from Auckland that did it last year, and they were actually one of the first to sign up. So I'm really hopeful that they come down, because they were just an absolute barrel of laughs, and really into it.
It's the first weekend of December, isn't it?
December 11,
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, we haven't done anything because we've got so many things cancelled. I've got blooming 6 Spartan races around the place.
Oh, no, I know. We're the same with Spartan. We've got credits all over the shop. Between that and Air New Zealand, I think we could go around the world doing races. But yeah.
It'll be interesting next year too, because then they'll all start putting them on top of one another. They've already started a couple of things like the Ellerslie. Now that Spartan's moved back to New Zealand, not Ellerslie, the new what is it? Barry Curtis Park. Yeah, but one of the other races I had cancelled this year's already been put onto that weekend. So.
Oh no.
And I think that's going to be a lot of that happening.
Yeah.
I think there will be too. Yeah.
But hopefully yours, we will get to level 2 by then. Good.
We're staying positive. We want to, keep in the fight and stay on the dance floor. And if it doesn't go ahead this year, we've got a couple of contingency dates for next year. And we got a few different formats that we're toying around with that we really want to, we think people will love, and, scratch one off, move on to the next one. My calendar's next to me here, and I'm the same. There's a lot of black crosses on certain weekends. It's like, oh, well, we'll keep trucking on.
Well, that sounds very interesting. Let's just hope that the levels all go back to something decent.
Absolutely.
So under your level 2 plans, I saw you spreading the event out across the whole weekend, the Saturday and the Sunday. But I wanted to ask personally, because I'm entered in the 12K competitive, but looking at the timetable under level 1, if it was just on the Saturday, I could only run that race. I think there wasn't enough time or something to enter the other distances. But if it was level 2 and it is spread out, could I enter the other distances? Or
absolutely.
And I'll be allowed under
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's actually probably quite a good point that people would want to do both. So we might take that on board.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to do the competitive, just for my own perspective, do the competitive Saturday, come back Sunday, do the open or whatever was available.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be cool. We want to get people out there on course as much as they can.
And it's great and we love taking on feedback. I think that's the
yeah, definitely.
It was really great and we asked for it after the last event, and it was like, look, please give us something, what was your good feedback, but please tell us anything, like one thing that we could improve on, because everyone can improve on something. And it was really, we got amazing feedback, but there were a few things that we didn't even think about, and that would be one of them, is people running both. So it's really cool to keep getting that stuff back, because we can change it. We're not a big sort of corporate that are, like Spartan probably have far more limitations than we do with how they run things, because of the, branding and franchise, issues. But we're small and we can
roll with the punches.
We can roll with the punches.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Spartan does have a whole heaps of rules and regulations. I met the CEO of Australia New Zealand when he came over here to look at Ellerslie Park to chat to him about, and he said then, and he has got, it's not something, but they've got sponsors that want them to put it on at certain dates too, that doesn't clash with other things. So they've got a whole heap of stuff that they've got to contend with that others don't have to.
Yeah, they certainly do.
Except maybe that madman that wanted to do a 24-hour enduro this year. I was like, okay, I like your enthusiasm, but we've got a couple of years before we can build up to a ultra endurance 24-hour lap race.
Good yell.
It sounds like, Stephen, I know you were just emailing Andrew Robinson.
Yes.
It wasn't him who suggested it. It
Well,
wasn't.
It might have been him actually.
Okay, because I know he entered last year. He came.
Yeah, he came along. He was brilliant. He was
Yeah.
good value. Yeah.
I think he came.
Yeah, we
near the
got
top
hold of him. He's going to
finishes.
come on one of our future episodes.
Oh, fantastic! No, he's good to chat to.
Okay, sounds like
He's
something.
really passionate about the sport too. Like it's yeah, and he's a bit crazy, and I like it.
So with your Spartan, well, first of all, where did you get into obstacle course racing? We probably should have covered this off a bit earlier. How did you get into it? Where's that? Do you
That was
come
you.
from?
I'd seen it around and sort of looked at it and thought, oh, that's really cool. You know, like tried a bit of triathlon, a little bit of multi-sport, and sort of enjoy the challenge of new things. And I had the hots for a while. And we ended up with a guy on the pro team working for us a bit who was
Canadian protein.
And he was just like, I'm not going to try and do his Canadian accent because I won't do it justice, but you know, talking to him got us even more pumped about it, and we teed up the Gold Coast.
I'll say us. I was a hard no on it. I was like, that is ridiculous. Because I love running, or still love running, and yeah, I couldn't do a monkey bar at that point or rope climb, as I mentioned. So I was pretty much a hard no for this whole thing. And then someone mentioned the Gold Coast, and that sort of, you know, piqued my interest a bit more. So yeah, so that was how I got into it, sort of being roped in through Promise of the Beach. So.
And we had a really special trip, actually. I think it's quite rare these days where you get, what was it?
We had 12 of us.
12 of us.
14 altogether.
And none of us had ever done it before. So we rolled up to the venue, and you know, obviously we'd looked on YouTube and done bits and pieces, and we rolled up to the venue as just about as green as you can get, and got beaten up, to put it politely, but it was just an absolute blast. We had so much fun, you know. It was a great
bunch of people to do it with
great
too.
crew.
Yeah.
That's in the hinterlands out the back of the Gold Coast.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
that's a nice course.
Yeah, it was lovely,
real
hot
good fun.
and fun, and lovely. I really enjoyed it.
And that sort of sparked a fire within us, that we thought, this is cool. We can see a lot of benefits and training for it, and something that people could really get behind and enjoy.
So tongue in cheek at the end of that, sort of, I think one of the last days on tour, I'd looked up where else we could go after this. I said, so Hawaii, anyone? And it was like a yep. So I said, okay, cool, we're going to Hawaii next. And then just started planning that, and that tour we had 33, 34 people that we took over there from all ages. So and just and all abilities as well, and it was just so much fun. So I think I love the bit about the Spartan, that and also what we do on tour is you come together and you do something together. So like, I hadn't been in a team sport since school, and I kind of do miss that team element of things when you just either training at the gym, or for me running, or and I got to go and do something with a bunch of people that are just good fun and sort of like-minded. You know, and everyone pushes hard, but everyone, you know, we tried to create an environment where people would really support each other regardless of the levels that you're at. So, you know, and really celebrate everyone's successes, once again, regardless of what your success is. And it's just been so special and rewarding for us to be part of that journey for people and for ourselves.
So really cool, you know. We did the Hawaii, you know, which is the Hollywood version. I think the year we did it, 2018, there was over 8,000 people on course. But then we've gone up to, you know, Why We're a Warrior with Greg and his crew, and just had an absolute blast up there, and just loved everything about it, from big and shiny, full noise, you know, thousands of athletes, down to the, you know, Greg's great event. It's a little bit more sort of local. I shouldn't say low key, but, you know, compared to 8,000 athletes, and just had heaps of fun doing it with people. Gives us a bit of purpose to our training, gives us a trip, you know, we can work towards, and really puts us on a channel where we can set little goals and just have an absolute blast with it. So
yeah, one of our other, we interviewed Liam Wilkinson. He went to 2018 in Hawaii, or was it 17? Max, do you remember?
I don't know. We must have been 2019.
Might have been 19.
Yeah, I think we were 2019 for Hawaii, 2018 for Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Right.
Leah, who we put out, a podcast we put out last week, he was over in Hawaii at some stage too. He raved.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I can't wait to go back there. But by multiple reasons, you know. So,
Yeah.
I think something we're really looking forward to as well next year, you know, being positive, aiming for a potential Australia trip towards the latter half of next year. Is we've had a few of our clients and athletes that have families, and the kids can come along and do it. So it's like, you know, a win-win-win. Mum and dad get to train for something, and they can take the kids on this holiday, and they get to do the kids race and hang out and have fun. And, you know, something we love to implement here as well with Alpha is we sort of got our minis, which is where they can get on course and just check it out and go and enjoy it. You know, who doesn't love Ninja Warrior now? I know I've been watching that latest season just going, hey, that's cool. And all the kids groups at the gym are like, oh, I want to send it like those guys. And all the kids, so do I. So something we love about it is that everybody can come along and take part.
Yes. I know that one of the ones I did in Melbourne, there was thousands of kids. I have no idea how many. Just thousands of them the day after, and they do Spartan does put on a good show for the kids. That's for sure.
Yeah, they do a really good job.
Even the one they did in Ellerslie the year here, it was not real good weather, but they did put on a good show for them.
Yeah, no, they certainly do. They do well with that. They do have a polished, you know, it's a polished event.
Yes. It certainly is. So, and you also did one in Melbourne, did you say?
Yeah, we went over. That was more for a
Christmas break. That
Christmas
one
break
there.
For us.
Did the sprint at the MCG.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
We were there at the same time then, because I went across for that.
Oh, awesome. No, I enjoyed that. I took my sister out on it, so she hadn't done anything like this before, and had an absolute blast. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good event.
Yeah, and I was going to go back again this year, but
or
last year actually. So, okay.
So for the tours, the event tours, is it just the Spartans you guys have been doing, or have you been thinking or gone to like other endurance events as well?
Yeah, we're trying to actually get to any that we can. So we'd originally planned. So we generally go up to Wairua Warrior. So I've taken groups up there or tours up there for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
3 years. And we were meant to go to Ultimate Athlete last for their first event, but with the date change, it just didn't work with our it just didn't work with all our planning, unfortunately. But yeah, we hope to get up and go and check out and bring the team up for one of those. So yeah, we like to. I mean, we really like to support other people. We kind of think it's quite a small. It's still quite a small sport in New Zealand, and we know how hard it is now from our point of view to actually do an event. So we're like, God, if we can keep more events going and bring people to them, then it can only benefit everybody. And it's nice for our guys to do something where we're not the ones yelling at them. So,
Yes, Max and myself, we're both part of the NZOSA, the New Zealand Obstacle Sports Association, which we started in February this year to try and improve, or not improve, but get more obstacle sport racing here. Because I'm from Australia also, there's a lot more over there, and that's pretty tame compared to America or some of the other countries.
And I think when you see it on a larger scale and you see how accessible it is to everybody, I think it changes the way that you view it too. So I know that one of the biggest barriers we had with our teams was going, you don't have to be an elite athlete to do this. So you see a lot of the marketing that goes out, and it's all these rich, 19, 20-year-olds, and people are like, oh my God, I can't do that. I'm not that good. So we're trying to create a culture with people about you don't actually have to be an Olympic athlete to do OCR. Like you can go along and just have an absolute blast and like the same micro goals and all of that. So I think that is the growth of it.
And like you said earlier too, it's not a team sport, but you go over as a group and some of them is the best time you have. It's
absolutely.
Mates I went with to Melbourne, we had a ball and took our wives and then wandered around Melbourne as well after, and we spent 4 days there. And but it's a real good group, and you don't have to be.
No,
superhuman.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Just good at burpees if you don't want to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what Spartan sort of did well with their open event, where it's very relaxed and you can share out your burpees and that kind of thing. So I think it does encourage, you know, a little less of a pressure and a cooker environment for people. So I'm hoping that, you know, with what you guys are doing, which I think is fantastic, and just getting it out more, and more people will become involved, and, you know, just see basically how much fun it is. And I think probably for me, after the 2 years we've had, we'd all probably do with a little bit more fun in our lives. So, and for you in Auckland, a little less of your house.
Yes. I did get out today, but for work. But yes.
Yeah, I think the competitive side of things, like the elite side of racing, like you were saying, it gets too much attention. Like it's easy to put that out in the media and the photos and the marketing, the crazy fast athletes. But in reality, at an event, you know, that's, I don't know, that's like 5% of the people there.
Yeah,
exactly. Absolutely.
And the huge majority is the everyday people and the weekend warriors and people having fun. But in saying that, I think there's also a part of OCR where it's like, it is sort of a bit scary. Like, well, I mean, Alpha Challenge, like your name, you know, you want to be Alpha, and like Spartan or Ultimate Athlete or like Warrior, like Rural Warrior. It's like, there is something like sort of scary about these names.
We debated.
Yeah,
we went around a lot with the name of what to do.
Yeah, I think that's part of the appeal of OCR, is like you show up to an event and you feel like a badass.
Absolutely.
You get your hydration pack on and your compression socks, and you're just ready to warrior alpha Spartan it up.
Yes, exactly.
And have fun.
And I'd actually love to see, like, on the competitive side of things, with the growth and potential of it maybe eventually ending up in the Olympics and that kind of thing, it'd be great to see a pathway through for youth. So, you know, we're trying to encourage that. So I think it's quite a hard balance to find between encouraging that competitiveness, but balancing it with, you know, you don't have to be competitive while you're out there. So I do think it's a challenge, and we're really trying to find the balance ourselves. But, you know, our focus has generally been on the everyday athlete or everyday, you know, weekend warrior, just because we want to get people enjoying it in the way that we do.
Yeah. And I have to admit, that's what the CEO of Spartan said when we were talking to him, that it's that the elite side is one that gets the publicity, they get the prize money and the big red trophies and all that sort of stuff, but they can't run events with elites. It's the open waves, and if you don't have kids coming through or grassroots, you get one or two events and then they either lose interest or what do you call it? So you've got to really focus on the grassroots side of things and getting it into schools and that sort of stuff to build the sport here.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We actually had last year, it's probably one of the moments I completely choked up, but we had a group of special needs kids. So they come and train at the gym, and Charlotte, who runs the program, she came to me and said, "Oh, look, could we do it?" I was like, "Oh God, hell yeah." And I tell you, watching these kids rip around and just giving it a go. Some of them were absolutely epic, hey? Like, it's like, well, you do monkey bars faster than half our elite people, you know, and then others couldn't, you know, it was a real challenge to even you know, get around the course. But I think it was a moment for everybody that saw them coming in, that, you know, it's really emotional kind of, and it puts it in perspective. You go, man, these guys just went out, they've got challenges that, you know, I don't face, and gave it a go. Why the hell am I whinging about, you know, how heavy something might be, or
got mud on my socks.
Exactly. So it was quite, and I like that inspirational side of it with things, and we just want to make it fully accessible. And I'd love to see it through all events, that it did grow for a wide, vast sort of bit of our population.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we've been talking about in the OSA is getting the adaptive side of stuff, people, getting that And we've got some people who are interested in that, but it's talking to you, people like yourselves and other event organisers, and getting, because it's no use building their hopes up when there is no.
Absolutely.
You're the only one in New Zealand that I know that has that. We brought it up with Spartan. We had a discussion with Ultimate Athlete about it as well, but it's not on their radar just at the moment because it's too hard to get an event off the ground without adding the extra burdens to it. And, yeah. But you're right. As soon as you see them out there, I know the one I went in the Gold Coast, they had a whole heap of from adults, everybody in wheelchairs and all that sort of stuff out there, and they were having a ball.
Just amazing. Yeah.
It's quite inspiring at the Greg's Whitewater Warrior. Every year they have David, I think his name is.
Yeah, that's it. The wheelchair.
Yeah. He goes through the course every year, and there's a whole team who supports him, and carries them through obstacles and drags them like through the course, and he loves it. He's smiling the whole way, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, I think if anybody listening is keen, sort of reach out and we'll see if we can put something together. We're flexible, a landowner's awesome, we can chop and change the course. We want everybody out there experiencing it, and the more the merrier.
So you've got really good participation numbers for this year?
Yeah, we can run it, which is great. So, and that's always, I think, half the challenge. But I mean, we know it takes time to build something up, and obviously for us with challenges with COVID, it's harder. But we're not expecting 1,000 people, put it that way. So we just want to really get it off the ground. But we've got really good numbers. So far, I'm really happy.
And I think you'll probably find that if, depending on what levels Auckland's at and the rest of the country goes to, there's people who are gun shy at the moment about signing up to events.
Absolutely. But to be honest, Wanaka on a maybe South Island in general, but Wanaka on a good day, people, it's the last week that people sign up for everything, and I'm completely guilty of it too. Like, run an event and I'm like, please sign up early, and then I'm signing up late for everything. So yeah, we know last year we had a huge rush, and it was the last 2 weeks that we sold pretty much all of our, at least half our tickets, probably 3/4 of our tickets, I think. And half the people were saying, no, we're definitely going to go in. So I knew they were coming, but just that commitment thing was a bit.
So did you have any international, like from Australia, people from there coming across? We did get
a few from Australia last year, which was great. I mean, not many. And to be fair, I didn't do a lot of marketing to Australia because but yeah, we'd love to get more over. And it's easy for, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, it's such an easy hop for people. So we're really hoping to sort of expand our marketing to Aussie when we can actually fly back and forward.
We can give you some great, great options with accommodation all the way through to activities. I kind of smile to myself sometimes when I look at the lake or the area and go, there isn't much you can't do in this area. You struggle to find a sport or an activity that you go from wingsuit flying right the way down to, wine tasting. So if I was looking at a weekend to go and hit up with the lads or hang out somewhere fun, and, we've got a lot of boxes we can tick here to make a really cool weekend that would just be loads of fun.
And being in Wanaka, that's the huge draw card. Make a destination event, and people get people from Australia all around the country just come down for the weekend or the week and do the race, but then do everything else in Wanaka as well. It's a lot of potential.
And it was another one of our drivers starting it, because we really really wanted to be able to give back to our region. So we'd known a lot of people in hospitality or accommodation, tourism, and they were really struggling when COVID hit last year. So we thought, God, if we can have an event that brings people in, that uses their hotels or Airbnbs and eats at their restaurant, then we'd be really stoked to be able to do something that could help them as well. Excuse me.
All right. We ask a couple of questions towards the end. And the first one is really easy. Is there any questions we haven't asked you that you wished we should have asked you? Or comments you'd like to make that we haven't covered that you'd like to explore?
I think I'd just say if anyone's actually even slightly thinking about getting involved, give it a whirl. Like, go to your local event and come down to ours, go to Ultimate Athlete, Spartan, whatever. Give it a whirl. And you don't have to be an Olympic athlete to do the sport. Just grab a bunch of friends, and I mean, we came pretty much last, I think, in Hawaii with our team, and we had the best time. So I just encourage everyone to give it a whirl.
Okay. Max, you got any other questions you'd like to throw their way?
Actually, I was thinking I should have asked it when we were talking about the OCR WC qualifier. I was thinking afterwards, I want to bring up again that because you were mentioning multiple obstacle attempts. So for people to complete 100% obstacles, how many attempts do they get at the obstacles?
You got 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's strategic brain going.
Yeah. Ooh, it's going to be fascinating. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, I may or may not make it. I don't know what we're going to be doing at the moment. Yeah. So the other question we're going to ask everybody is, if you could have coffee with anyone in history, who would you like to have coffee? You can have one each. Any person, dead or alive, and why?
That's deep.
Yeah.
I wish you a couple of seconds on this one. I'm going to go, I'm a bit of a Stoic philosophy fan, so I'm going to put Marcus Aurelius out there. I do like the simplicity of focusing on what we can control and what we can't, and realizing that's the only thing we've really got to, if you want to live with eudaimonia, then that's quite sort of one of my favorites. I think sitting down with one of those wise old heads that goes, says 3 sentences and you're like, oh, cool.
Oh God, I don't know who I would. By the way, and it sounds terrible, but I would actually like to sit down with someone like Hitler or Stalin to try and work out how the hell your brain could get around being so destructive to society, and how you can't find the good in humanity, like how you can be so just horrible. I would like to, which sounds like a really stupid thing to do, but it's just put me on the spot here. But yeah, just to understand, the thought process around doing something so horrific, in the hope that I could potentially change his mind. So.
Okay. All right. So where can our listeners find you? You're on Instagram and Facebook and everything, I take it?
We are Instagram, Facebook, website, and just give us a call. Like we're happy to talk. OCR anytime.
We'll put the links in our show notes at the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that.
No, that was brilliant. Thank you for having us on.
Great to hang out. Thanks for having us.